Welcome again to Family Dynamics with Bola. If you were here with us on the last episode, we talked about the heart of letting go. We did talk about what it means to parent your teens and your young adults with an open heart. And we did talk about how parenting changes as our children also change and how we could shift from control to trust. I just wanted to do a quick recap of what we talked about on the last episode. So today we are going to be diving into something just as important as that: boundaries. Yes, boundaries. Not the kind that, create walls, not the kind that shut people out, but the kind that build healthy, loving, and respectful relationships. So today I want to talk to you as parents. Boundaries without guilt. Sometimes it's very easy for us to set those boundaries and then, especially for mothers, right? We begin to feel guilty. As interesting as this example may sound, right? I remember when I wanted to win my daughter off eating at night, it was hard, but I knew it needed to be done, right? I needed to set that boundaries because if not, no matter how they are, they'll keep waking up in the middle of the night trying to eat or trying to do something. So I do remember the first night she woke up and I gave her a bottle of water. And this is how you know that children are very interested. Gave her a bottle of water. She put it in her mouth. She saw that it was water. She threw it away, cried and cried. Your heart is burning, right? You can't really stand it. But it was just for a couple of minutes. She went back to sleep. And then she woke up again, right? And then did the same thing. Um, 2 nights, the same thing. Then it began to decrease. I'm telling you, by the third night, when she realized when I just wake up, it's just gonna be water, she starts sleeping through the night. Yeah, that's an interesting, kind of boundary that you want to put in. But let's take it a top notch, right? When your child, and kids are very interesting, they will test your limits. You know, they start talking back, or they start missing curfews, or you give them responsibilities, they ignore it. And as a parent, you understand, okay, they're busy, right? You don't really know. If you enforce this rule, will you push them away? If you don't, you might lose all control. You're kind of stuck between guilt and fear, right? That guilt of you feeling like the mean mom or the mean dad, and that fear of that when you set boundaries in place, it could damage what you have. But let me tell you the truth: boundaries is not rejection, it's actually protection. When you have boundaries in place, no matter how young or old your child, or even any relationship at that, it's just that we're focusing on a parent child relationship here, right? You need to set clear boundary. And when you set your boundaries with love, and it's very clear, at the end of it, they might not like it, but it doesn't push them away. To tell you the truth, boundaries actually make kids feel safe. Sometimes maybe because you overwork and you're thinking, I have to make it up for these kids, right? I have to, and then you overcompensate. When you overcompensate, you don't give your child that ability to actually grow up and make good decisions. Sometimes love is you stepping back so that your kids can actually step forward. Even the Bible says it is he whom the Father loves that he disciplines, right? So let's quickly talk about what healthy boundary look like in any relationship. The first thing I want to talk about here is boundaries actually communicate love. Boundaries communicate love. When kids know that there are limits, there are lines that they don't cross, to tell you the truth, they might not like it. When you tell them, especially as teens, if you go play with your friend, you have to be back home at, 8 p.m. or 9 p.m. or whatever time you set. And they don't like it maybe because they feel like, oh, their friends, parents let them stay out till like midnight. They might not like it at that time. But I am telling you, I have heard this over and over and over when kids will come back and say, Mom, thank you for that time that I was really mean and I didn't really understand. So when you don't set boundaries, it's actually communicating. Eventually, it's showing that you don't truly love. Boundaries is telling your child, I care too much about you to let you do what will hurt you permanently. When a child, or a teen, a young adult, or kids, when they know where the line is, it makes them feel safer. They know that whatever I see, when I cross that line, is on me. And when they know that even when they protest, that line is not going to move, deep down in them, it actually makes them feel safer. So another thing, that healthy boundary. And I know a lot of people from African descent just feel like boundary is rude. We're not kind of used to that. No, it's not that. It's not that. Boundaries are really, really important in even any relationship, and they must be communicated with clarity. Boundaries also teach responsibility. So when we set those limits, this is how much time you can use on the electronic gadgets. We give our kids the chance to make choices and experience the consequences of those choices that they make, either good or bad. So this helps them to self regulate, right? They learn how to control themselves. They learn how to respect other people, how to respect other people's time, how to respect other people's choices, because for every action, there is an equal reaction or equal consequence, right? So it teaches them how to be responsible. But when we don't give those limits, they just go with the flow. Boundaries are not about control. They're just about you being clear. And I used to do this a lot when the kids would ask me a question. I'm like, because I said so. But it's not good enough. I mean, in case you've not known, the children of these days, that's not good enough. You have to set the expectation and clearly communicate it. If this expectation is not met, here is what happens, right? When we are consistent with them, they can trust us. And not just us, consistency in a child's life help them later in the future. So I just talk about 3 ways that we can really set boundaries without guilt, without us feeling like, am I hurting them? Sometimes your heart is about to break, but you're doing the things for them for the future. It's a temporary suffering that we have to have in that case, right? For an eternal gain. So the first thing is, be clear with the boundary, be calm about it. You don't have to be reactive. Say what the boundary is, why it's important to you as a family, and what the consequences would be. You don't have to do a lot of emotional explanation, Say what it is, why it's important, and what the consequence would be. Just say the facts and follow through. That's really important. Because if you don't follow through, they would not trust you. And then another thing that I try to do is use the when and then statement. So I'm always just like, when you finish your work, you can play. I always just even say walk before play. But a better way to say it, when you finish this, then you can do this. When you're able to do this, then you can do that. So it kind of shifts their perspective, right? They're not thinking that this is hard, because sometimes those things that we're asking them to do for them, it's not fun, it's not fun. But when they have something that they're looking forward to, they're like, well, I just need to finish this and I'm able to do this. When this is done, this is done. And the third thing I really want to talk about is we have to remember boundary is all about us connecting with them. Before we want to correct, I am very guilty of this because I'm always like trying to correct, right? But the best time that boundaries would work is when your relationship is good. When your relationship is good with your child, that work very well because they know you have their best interest at heart. It's not enough for you to have it. It should be communicated, right? It's important for us as parents to spend time connecting with these children, not just when they've done something wrong, so that they know that everything you're doing is actually from a place of love. It's not enough for us to love them. They have to know that we truly, truly love them, right? So one thing I want for us to just even think about as we go this week is ask yourself this question. Where in my relationship with my child am I avoiding a boundary just because I feel guilty? What line do I need to redraw in love and not in fear? Right? Don't shrink back from what is healthy just because you want to avoid conflict. And this is where I would draw the curtain today. One thing I want you to know is you're able to love deeply and lead your children wisely. God has given you the grace to parent your child with strength. Thank you so much for joining me today. If this episode encouraged you in any way, I'd love for you to share with a fellow parent. And let's keep growing together with love, with clarity, and without guilt. This is Family Dynamics with Paula.